The first I would offer, is that we need to, you need to, experts need to elevate the public dialogue, because in many, many arenas it has degraded today. And our institutions are places where we can help the public have a more informed conversation about the issues that really matter. Why is it important? Because it helps us as higher education commit to a broad dissemination of knowledge, not just a scholarly dissemination of knowledge to another scholar. And finally, and we'll talk about this later in the presentation too, it can help us demonstrate relevance in higher education today, because I'll tell you what, I'm looking at a lot of research that says there is significant public distrust in higher education today. We've lost some of the public trust and some of the societal compact that we had for generations in higher ed. And our ability to translate what happens inside the academy to why it should matter to people outside the academy is quite key. So what does it mean to communicate beyond the academy? It used to be, back in the day, and I started in this work in 1992, and it was very like this at that time. A researcher would have a body of work. They'd publish in a journal, and then their public relations office would take the findings from that piece of scholarship, and they would write a press release, and they would try to get a news placement on it. Well, in the last few years, 10 years, but 5 years especially, the environment for platforms for the discussion of your work has exploded. And the most important thing I'd love for you to know is, as you begin to develop in your career, get to know your university's social media and media offices. Let them, make sure they know the kind of scholarship that you're interested in, the topics that you're knowledgeable about. An early relationship with them is so important. They'll help you develop those messages for external communications, but also help to provide some guidance so that we mitigate some of the pitfalls that we were talking about earlier. And then it's so important to connect what you are thinking about from a scholarly perspective with the bigger picture. Why does it matter? This is a problem with higher education in some respects today. With some of the research I see, we're not figuring out how to articulate why it matters to my neighbor down the street or to our community. But all of us who are working on these important issues know that it really matters. That's what we did, I think, so powerfully with the affirmative action lawsuits. We were able to describe why diversity mattered in higher education, and that we couldn't have truly excellent higher education without having diverse classroom environments. I just want to offer this, even though the pitfalls can feel like barriers, I actually don't think that there is anything more important that institutions of higher education can do right now in 2016 than better connect what we know to people who would care about knowing it too. I just don't think there's anything more important we can do.